Hi everybody, it's Trisha Lee, and if you didn't catch that, we are here tonight on part 14 of our 20,000 part series on disruptive technology. And today we are talking about um, electric cars and a little bit about the history of it. And we're going to talk, a lot of the talk is inspired by the story of the Chevy Volt. And if you're not aware, go to YouTube after this hangout and check out Who Killed the Electric Car. And now they have the new Who Killed the Electric Car 2. And that should be on either Netflix or YouTube, where you should be able to find that. And check it out, and then you'll know what we're talking about. But stay with us in the meantime, and we're going to talk a little bit more about our thoughts on it and how it relates to the future. So I work out of on a farm, and I travel on the highway to get to where I'm with horses every day, and I run across um, these roadkill on the side of the road. So like the other day, there was like two crows that got crashed into by the car, and then there was a porcupine with like blood everywhere the one day, and then it was like a deer. So before we kind of get started talking about the technology that already exists, I just have uh, a vision for applying that technology using for the highways a tunnel system where all of the above ground driving would be done in cities, but on the highways where animals are subject to roadkill, that could be eliminated if we had a system of tunnels. And I think that that would incorporate very, very well with the electric technology that people are working on for transportation. So I'll let Larry give some opening thoughts, and if Tapan has anything to add. Do you know anything about electric cars, Tapan? Tapan's,
No,
well, Tapans are from India, and so what do you think? What do you have to say for opening about electric cars being a disruptive technology?
no. Well, what we do know so far about electric cars, I think I learned most of what I know about electric cars from the movie you just mentioned, Who Killed the Electric Car. I think it was only recently, and on some of the Google Hangouts that we've already had with disruptive technology, that we actually discussed some of the manufacturers of the electric cars. And so what we're what I feel about or what I know about electric cars is that they don't emit any kind of greenhouse gas emissions, and they are non-polluting. So there's no carbon dioxide and all the nasty things associated with automobiles or hydrocarbon burning automobiles associated with electric vehicles. They're a very clean form of transportation, and what we know about them from when they started, um, I remember before the Tesla was even um, invented yet, the real fast model that they had was as a prototype. I remember even before that, I was talking to a company called EV Propulsion in the United States because I had gone to their website and I had just sold one of my companies, lock, stock, and barrel, and I had a sum of a little over $300,000, and I thought to myself, well, what am I going to do with this? And I think one of the main things that I wanted to do is drive an electric car. So after doing some research on the internet as to what was available, I really didn't find anything available to purchase as far as an electric car went, unless I wanted to drive like a golf cart. And so I thought, well, there must be a company that can fabricate an electric vehicle. And sure enough, the company that I found was EV Propulsion, and I was on the phone with them quite a bit to try to determine what kind of car to purchase so that they could modify it and transform it into an electric car. And they were working with lead acid batteries, so they suggested that this would have been about 2004. They suggested I buy one of these new Scion vehicles, a Toyota Scion that was new to North America. So I bought one of the first in Canada, a 2005 XV model, and this is the model that they said that they could incorporate into an electric car. So I bought the car, which was relatively expensive, and then to modify the car into handling an electrical drive system would be about 20,000. And then I learned that to get the batteries for the car would be 100,000, and at that point killed it for me. And since that time, I couldn't go ahead with it because that was a little bit too much to pay for a battery. And so the next thing I heard was the Prius, the Toyota Prius was coming out. It wasn't purely an electric car; it was a hybrid. However, they said that it was possible to convert it so you could actually plug it in and run off your battery rather than use the fuel on board to charge your battery. And I thought, well, that'd be kind of cool. But now I've got the Scion, which it's a very fuel efficient car, but it's not an electric car. So the learning experience I had, I think EV Propulsion, I'm not exactly sure what happened, but I think they were rolled into the Tesla Motor Company at some point. Because I remember talking to the owner, and he said that there was some major changes going on, and this was before Tesla Motors started. I'm pretty sure he's now with Tesla Motors, so his entire company, including the technology that he had developed, was all rolled into this new car company. And so it's ironic that I was actually involved with this at that point in time because it was all really starting to get going. I didn't have, I'm not a mechanical person, and so it wasn't in my nature to pursue starting an electric vehicle company. But as I was stating, what I learned from Who Killed the Electric Cars, like you were saying, Trish, the Chevy Volt was one that came out. It's not purely an electric car, it's another hybrid that's like a Prius. However, in the movie that we were talking about, Who Killed the Electric Car, the General Motors had come up with a purely electric car that ran on electricity. And that car was called the EV1, and that's what the movie was based on. So it was a extremely disruptive technology because a company such as General Motors, one of the big three, was producing this car that ran on electricity. And what the movie stated is how they marketed it to people. They marketed it to a lot of celebrities. And why they did that, I got a funny feeling that it was mainly because the power and the publicity that people with Hollywood have. So all these people that were in the movie, I was saying, oh, that's a girl from Baywatch, and this is so-and-so actor, and that's Tom Hanks or whoever. While I watched this movie, Who Killed the Electric Car, you were seeing all these public figures, and I thought that was a really good idea on GM parts. What I thought was completely disturbing, and what the movie was really all about, was how the drivers of these electric vehicles, the EV1s, were all really happy with what they had. and all of a sudden they got a call from General Motors that, yeah, you have to return your electric car because we don't want you to have it anymore. And I know that a lot of these people were environmentalists as well as being, actively involved with renewable energy. So a lot of them were right upset. And as the movie progressed, what happened with those EV1 vehicles was just mind blowing because they ended up crushing all these cars, and it was the saddest thing I'd ever watched in a movie. And it was a documentary too. And so that whole period in time, for us to actually see that in the environmental just hang on a second, I have to take a quick break. Hang on a sec.
Oh, that's fine. I had some stuff to point out too from the movie. You have to not mind me, I'm on the road, and so the sun's going down. But I had some ideas from the movie. It's interesting to talk about how the history of cars, they were initially electric cars. I think one of the first ones invented was actually ran on electricity. And then there was when I think the oil boom started to hit, then they kind of turned it all over to gas, and I think Henry Ford may have had some deals going on to make, and Rockefeller, the oil guy, may have had some deals going on to make all the cars run on fossil fuels instead of on electricity. And I guess there were some vehicles that ran on alcohol at that time for quite a while as well. There is a gentleman, I believe it's Michael Bloom. You can look up. Alcohol is actually set up a bunch of alcohol stills to run vehicles on alcohol. However, Larry and I are not proponents of burning anything for really anything. So we try to steer away from anything that involves burning, because then you lose the resource forever, and it always creates poison. Where there's fire, there's carbon monoxide. So you want to look for. I actually think it's crazy that they argue about this carbon dioxide stuff and that they have these carbon offsets, etc., because it's the actual carbon monoxide, not the carbon dioxide, that's the poison. And yeah, it's always present wherever there's combustion. So, Larry, do you remember any other details about how the electric cars back at the beginning of the transportation revolution with cars? Do you remember any details about that from the movie?
From the movie, yeah. I've got a little gray hair, so I wasn't alive back then. But from the movie, yeah, they definitely were. They hinted upon that, on how when Ford started, they were actually considering the electric, having the vehicle run on electricity. However, the infrastructure for gas had already begun for other applications, so that was the smart fuel of choice for Ford to go with, because I think at the same time he also knew it was going to be the least expensive to run his vehicle.
Yeah, and I guess at the time it was much more affordable, and there was efficiency, so it was a winning combination for that time. However, looking back, that may have been, or that surely was an irresponsible use of those resources in my mind, and continues to be in my mind. Not that I'm in a car right now, for Christ's sake, so not that I'm not guilty of it, but as culture as a whole, we have to identify and decide that there's got to be a better way, because we know that when we burn anything, there's carbon monoxide, and we all know that that's a poison. So even if it's not, we're not dropping dead from it, maybe there are other living beings that inhabit this planet that are being affected by it, like potentially you see like honeybees or the decline of the colonies. Like there are any kind of different diseases or stuff like that that show up in people or animals or plants. Potentially could be from the toxins released during combustion, and there's a lot of them. So basically pollution, right? So electric cars play, in my mind, a huge role in solving the problem, because especially in North America, and more so every single day all around the world, automobiles are more prevalent on the road. There's more and more people having the opportunity to drive automobiles, and it's an amazing luxury to be able to do so. And so it's not really going anywhere, but if we can take it to a place where we can use the resources, the energy resource that runs our transportation in a more responsible way, I'm all for that. Hence my vision of, one day we'll have to do a Google Hangout about the tunnels when I get a little bit closer to actually making it happen. But definitely, it's disturbing for me anyway, as an animal lover, to see roadkill and think that that's unfortunate. And there's a solution in my mind that's pretty cool. So anyway, did you have what else did you want to talk about electric cars, Larry? As far
Well, I think,
I was kind of thinking about what's been going on more recently, up-to-date kind of stuff in regards to Tesla and Elon Musk's announcements.
oh yeah, with the you mean Elon Musk making his patents available for public domain? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello? Oh, Trish, can you hear me? She must have muted her speaker. The what I was going to say about
No,
the,
I could hear you. You couldn't hear me?
no,
Oh, you can hear me now?
yeah, we can hear you now.
Oh, yeah. What his most recent announcement was. I know that I haven't really followed the whole Tesla Motors things that closely, but I know that he's had quite a few announcements that got quite a bit of press, because I know about it. Because if I know about it, you got a lot of press, because I only hear about stuff word of mouth. So definitely, I know that there's been a few announcements, and I can remember some delays or whatever in getting the product to the consumer, and then also as far as the people who had put their deposits for the electric cars, I heard he had to go back to them and request a higher price for the product. And so those are some pretty major challenges. And now he's made this announcement about his patents. So I don't really understand patents all that well. Do you want to kind of explain what's happened there just recently with Tesla Motors, and maybe some other things that you think that it's doing for the future of cars that do not have polluting emissions?
Right. Well, I think a lot of what's happening at Tesla from day one is they've had a lot of proprietary technology, and that's usually what the whole IP and patents involved is some kind of, trade secrets, things like that. And so, and they acquired them from, I believe, other companies. So I think their latest announcement of them putting uh, their patents that I'm not sure how much time they have left on their patents pending. However, you get 20 years, and they might be 10 years into some of their patents, so they have 10 years remaining. However, what the latest announcement from Tesla Motors was that they're making all of their patents, not just some of them, but all of their patents for their vehicle are now available to the general public. So if you want to make your own Tesla car, you can, and they won't do anything about it. If you want to make a Tesla car and sell it to your neighbor and sell it to your neighbor's buddy, you can do that. You can start your own business manufacturing electric cars. And I think that is just a sign that Elon Musk and the Tesla Motors organization, how strongly they feel about the environment. And it gives testament to that they're really on the right track. They're on the same track we are with King Sunshine Solar Systems. It's really all about the environment and making it so that we're not burning anything. And to put it, I remember Elon Musk quoting a quote that he said to the press after he got a lot of money from the Department of Energy in the follow-up movie about Tesla. What was it called? The Revenge of the Electric Car. And that's when we learned a lot more about the Volt and what Tesla Motors was really doing. So he really got a boost out of all that as well. So the Department of Energy started backing them as soon as they went public. And so that's, yeah, a lot of this stuff is actually kind of mind-blowing that they went public and raised so much money for this car. And the Tesla Motors S car, I think it's an S called the S sedan, something like that. It's not even an expensive car, and it goes twice as far, excuse me, as some of the other models that are available to the public. Like I know Honda's got something called the Leaf, and there's other types of electric cars available on the market. But what Tesla is doing is just phenomenal for allowing people to start manufacturing their cars without even having to pay a royalty to Tesla Motors or anything like that. Can you imagine if Henry Ford, when he started his car company and invented all his different models, at one point he said, okay, well, they're really easy to build, people, so just make your own and then start selling them to your friends. And that would, I couldn't imagine Henry Ford or anybody in business doing something like that. So it's a strong testament to Elon Musk that he's actually going ahead and making this technology available to the public the way he has. It's just a sign that yeah, we got to do something about all this pollution, and we're going to be running out of fossil fuels. That's why they call them fossil fuels, right? They're fossils. Nobody's making any more. It's like land. Nobody's making any more land. What we got is what we got. And so I don't think it's really gotten through to the public that it's like the some of the what was that? There was certain whales that have gone extinct. Well, those whales are never coming back, and the same will hold true to oil and gas. Is once that stuff is gone, we better have something else, or else we're going back to horse and buggy and walking a lot.
Well, yeah, for sure. And like the worst part of it is that the resource would last for literally ever if you didn't burn it, because oil, like the plastic, it can be recycled over and over and over again, but as soon as you burn it, it's poison and it's gone for absolute ever. So yeah, definitely been a misuse of the resource, kind of. But I feel that definitely it's very, very possible to turn it around and to make improvements, and they do that with a lot of different things out there, like and they try to improve the existing technology. However, I think some of the best disruptive technologies are the ones that are really outside of the box and that really are able to have a significant impact and make a big difference on the way that we operate our lives. And another thing I remember vaguely from the Don't Kill the Electric Car movie was they talked about the um, the streetcar in San Francisco, and that streetcar was like super super famous. There was like a movie made about the San Francisco streetcar, and it was like really really romantic kind of idea and stuff. And in the story, it talked about how these things happen where deals are made with big big companies like GM had all these buses, and they wanted to replace the San Francisco streetcar with diesel-burning buses. And they were actually able to get help from be able to um, take over the streetcar. And I think it was in the 1980s that they took over the streetcar with the GM buses, and I think that that's a little. I don't know. They may have even brought the streetcar back there. I have no idea in San Francisco, but I think that definitely that part of the movie, it kind of was like, well, gee, that's too bad because I think that it was pretty efficient up until they took it. So I'm not too sure. There's definitely so many benefits to having technology that can help with transportation around the world. It is one of the most have. Like for me, transportation holds a really special place in my heart because I am a horse lady and I absolutely love horses. And the reason why I feel so attracted to horses and I love horses so very much is because they have been the animal that I believe has provided the most service to humanity throughout history. And I don't think it's something that no one can really argue with me about. So we love our dogs and fish and whatnot. And although they feed us, to have a big, powerful animal like that working for you really expanded the scope of humanity to find more and more opportunity. Like now we have horsepower, and we just continue to strive to have better, faster, more inexpensive, more reliable transportation each and every day. And so I think not only the electric car, but buses and trains that can operate with electricity are going to be in more and more higher demand as the future years progress. What do you think, Larry?
Oh, no, no doubt. You know, we can see the light at the end of the tunnel, and it's the sun. It's not a fire burning of hydrocarbons. It's not a man-made torch, um, like a smokestack. It's nothing like that. It's the sun, and the sun has got so much power it offers up on a daily basis, and it's always there. It's not like the sun's not going to come up one day and we're going to go, hey, where's the sun? However, like I said, I think it's a really good analogy comparing fossil fuels or oil and gas, diesel, all those types of fuels, comparing it to an endangered species. because we have screwed up and we have eliminated species of animals and eliminated them from our lives. And we're going to do the same with oil and gas unless we get cracking. I think there's this kind of freakish mentality that people think that it's an endless resource. It's not. Like I don't see how people can't get that through their head that they're going after this oil and gas, after it, after it, after it. They're now having wars over it. And it's only going to be there for so long. Then it's going to run out. And unless, I should say, we do what you're suggesting, and yeah, it's there. We don't have to burn it. We can do other stuff with it, but we don't have to burn it. I think that's a really, really important point you made, Trish, that everybody understands that if we have oil and bitumen, or whatever you want to call it, you're taking it from the ground. In Alberta, we call it oil sands. If you can take that stuff out of there, and not be so hasty taking it out. They're just trying to suck oil out of the ground using like a straw. Now it's nuts. It's crazy what they're doing up north to try to process the oil and the environmental impact of processing that. It's been in the news. It's not fiction when people come to an area of North America and go, hey, what the hell? What are you guys doing up here? This is nature up here. This doesn't belong to you. You're province Alberta. Yeah, you're a province in Alberta, but this land doesn't really belong to you. You know what I'm saying? It belongs to the world. The earth is the earth, and we all share the earth in one way or another. So if we were to take this non-renewable resource out and preserve it and have it and maybe stockpile it for when we really, really have a reason to burn it. I don't know why that would be, but hell, it would be great to have if for some reason we just ran into some kind of weird, unpredictable environmental thing and we said, oh God, if only we had some oil and gas. Oh, well, it's too bad. That's extinct, right? So I'm kind of on a rant on that because I feel strongly about not burning it.
And I feel strongly too, and it's a little off topic, but you're talking about non-renewable resource. What about I believe it's down in Kentucky where I could be wrong on that, but I know that somewhere they're pretty much doing, well, in north of here, they're strip mining, and where I'm thinking of, I saw a show about it where they actually were exploding the mountaintops. And and then they're to get coal for the power plant, and it's like, what? Because the mountain, really, that that it's gone when you put TNT to a mountain, and you're not it's just insane. All of the thirst for energy and transportation is so strong amongst people, so they really take it seriously. Yeah, probably a lot of people out there will not at all appreciate the things that we're saying. I see Tapan left the conversation, and so yeah, because so many people are. I'm sitting in a car right now that burns gas, so we all use it. But however, I think it's just a natural state to be a little bit apprehensive of change, about any change that comes your way. The very nature of the word, the cha, matches up with challenge. I'm sure that means something in Latin, but whenever you're facing a change, it's a challenge, and a lot of times I think most times people, and even in nature you see this, don't rise to the challenge, and so change can be very difficult for a lot of people, and so they're may be some, actually, it's obvious that there's a lot of folks that are offended by the notion that they would have to give up their high horsepower gas guzzling big SUVs and whatnot, especially here in the area where we are. People are very attached to these objects. For example, like I worked in a collision repair center, and they had a lot of vehicles that were collisions, but they also had a lot of people that just spent a lot of money to add customizations and to make their car the shiniest or the prettiest or what have you, for showing and this and that. And so it's this very deeply ingrained sort of behavior and idealism that has been bred over the history of automotive transportation. And so pulling people away from that into the future, which is absolutely amazing. I'm so very excited about where things are headed with this kind of thing. I actually wanted to discuss a little bit more about the future of specifically automotive technology as a disruptive technology. Is Google has gotten behind some technology that actually allows, well, basically my understanding, because I'm very much a layman, I don't speak in technical terms, so you'll understand. If I understand it, you'll understand it all, right? So the way I understand it is Google has gotten involved with a company that has technology that will basically allow for your computer to drive your car. And so I'm thinking about this business of that I used to be involved in, and it was all like I quit and all, real happy about that. So but I'm thinking about it and thinking the collision repair industry may not even exist if when, I shouldn't say if, when, hot rod's right there, I was talking about you, thank you, you just made my point. That was actually a motorcycle, but still, I'm sure that it is tweaked up mechanically to bun the maximum amount of fuel to be able to get the maximum amount of speed, etc., etc. And with yeah, with less acknowledgement too. Yeah. Anyway, good pattern interrupt. So I think I was talking about how. Actually, I don't remember, but yeah, the collision repair industry is, they are kind of going to face inevitable death march as this Google technology is able to allow computers to drive our cars, because the computers ain't going to crash. There's not going to be no more collisions. They're not going to need to fix cars when people crash, because they just won't crash. If the computer's driving the car, like computers can, I'm just amazed, computers can do probably not as much as my unconscious mind, but because I don't know, I can't say that for sure. Probably my unconscious mind is more powerful than my computer. My computer is definitely more powerful than my conscious mind. So when computers start driving electric cars in my tunnels, then there won't be any more need for collision repair because of Google's technology. The computers will, they won't crash. Like if you look at planes, like all the plane crashes that are out there are they're not because the computers were wrong, or even their navigation systems. Usually that's not the case. It's usually some other external or unforeseen force that usually doesn't have to do with the computers. Like, I don't know if that, I've heard of planes crashing from engine failure, but not a computer glitch. Not a computer glitch. Have you heard of a plane crashing from a computer glitch, Larry? Oh.
That's a really good question. I think more than likely, there have been pilots on the plane that have caught a computer glitch that might have caused the plane to crash. I'm not sure. That was something you'd have to research.
Yeah, definitely. But I think it's a lot more likely that it would be a human error on the part of the pilot than the computer. Just in my experience. So I was just kind of talking about a little bit more on transportation. Maybe there's no kind of information out there about that I've heard of the technology for control craft that are electric or maybe battery operated. Larry would know a lot more about that than me, but I don't think for large commercial aircraft there's any talk of any possibility of any other way than the nasty old burning of jet fuel. Do you know too much about how electric transportation will apply to aircraft? Or do you have anything else to say about the electric car?
Well, I was just kind of getting started on the electric car. I hadn't finished what I was saying about when Ford when Tesla Motors started sharing all their patents with the world and wanting everybody to start making their vehicles. I think when we talk about disruptive technology, we're talking about I think I should also state that what we do with King Sunshine Solar Systems is we're going to be able to provide the power that these electric cars are going to need to really charge up quickly, just being that our equipment is estimated to be 4 times as powerful as your standard or a generic solar panel of photovoltaic. Knowing that, it's a real big issue, I think, with electric cars to be able to get charged up real fast and get going again. And so I know we've got some ideas regarding that. Rather than even having a half hour to charge up your vehicle, I think it would make, I think it was my uncle that was saying, my Uncle Glenn was saying that they already have this in China. However, I don't think they do. So I'll put this this intellectual property out there in the world for anybody who wants it. If you could have a station where you pull in your electric vehicle and you pop the battery out of the bottom of the car, and you pop a new battery in, just like you do with a toy car. I think that is the way of the future, so that it's all done by robotics. I'm pretty sure they don't have anything like that in North America, and I've seen what they have for charging stations. The quickest you can charge up your Tesla S car is a half an hour, and so in order to do that, I think King Sunshine Solar Systems is going to be a mega player in this whole electric vehicle scenario, because we know it. The thing that's happening, and the reason why Elon Musk has made his patents possible is, like I was saying, these cars are not expensive. It's just people are, like you say, they're afraid to change. They're afraid to go out and buy an electric car, because what if I can't buy batteries for it? That's the mentality that we've got, What if the battery doesn't fit? That sort of thing. And it's not the case, They've got really great cars out there. You can watch a whole slew of testimonials on YouTube now about these electric vehicles, and not just Tesla, other manufacturers as well, to see how reliable these vehicles are, to see how well they work in snow. Like we're in a winter climate up here in Alberta, 8 months out of the year. And when I talked to the Tesla sales office in, I think it was in Toronto or Minnesota, or I can't remember where, but I talked about how are these new cars going to function up here. They had no qualms whatsoever because they were testing them in Minnesota. Now I know Minnesota is a different and a little lower in a little south of from where we are, but I know that I lived in Manitoba. I grew up in Manitoba, and the winters in Manitoba were frickin' wicked. And because it's not just cold, it's a bone-chilling cold. So it's a different cold here in Alberta. We get to minus 40 and whatnot, but down there they have some serious, serious cold. Well, this is where the Tesla motor company, tested their vehicles. They tested them there. So people have nothing to be concerned about going out and buying an electric car. It's a stigma. They're not ready for it. And so I said this, I don't believe I said this in a hangout, but I think even a better idea that Tesla could have would be to give some of their cars away to big cities and let people just maybe give them to cab companies or something like that, where people could call up a free cab, something like that, and be able to take a ride in one of these things to understand, yeah, shit, if it works as a cab, should work as a car for me as well. So I'm ready to buy one of the cars, but I have so much of my own capital and wealth invested in King Sunshine Solar Systems that right at this point in time, this juncture in time, I'm not financially prepared. I don't have the cash on hand to go out and get one of these vehicles right now. It is on my list of things to do. I will be driving one of the Tesla vehicles. I'm not going to go out and make them and sell them, but I'm going to buy one from the Tesla Motor Company because I really believe in that car based on the performance. That's another thing. The driver magazines that go out and test vehicles, they had outstanding comments to say about, just amazing comments to say about the Tesla vehicles when they went to, I think it's Car and Driver, some kind of, it's a very famous magazine publication, and they passed with flying colors. Like even these guys reviewing them were, gas guzzler, muscle car guys, and they flipped out when they were handed one of these cars to go test. They couldn't believe it. And so, like I say, the proof's in the pudding. If you got experts like that who test the electric car and say, well, hell, it performs better than anything that runs on gas that I've ever owned. This is an expert saying that. And it's an expert in automotive, an automotive expert, not in electrical, not in diesel, not in hybrids, automotive expert. And the electric cars are all passing with flying colors. It's a great thing to see. It's just I think it's just kind of a slow turning that we're going through. And I don't think Tesla Motors has a thing to worry about. I think they will be selling their cars because they're a great vehicle and they're economically priced. And I'm not getting paid to say that.
Well, it sounds like
did you hear all that?
Yeah, it sounds like maybe you should be either making or selling the Tesla cars because you sure do like them a lot. You've got me just about sold. Well, not really. I want a truck, but just about. So really, yeah, I want the electric truck. I know there's one of those, a farm one. Yeah, so my whole thing is that I'm super excited about that because my whole thing is that I know that everything is getting better each and every day, and so there's people working on solutions for electric vehicles, and the best one is really going to win, and Tesla probably has the best shot because they have so many resources and stuff, because Elon Musk, for those that don't know, is very, very wealthy due to the success of internet phenom PayPal. He was involved with the intellectual property for creating the PayPal system that we all know and love. And so because of that, he's been able to invest heavily in this technology for electric cars. So definitely that company has the best opportunity and chance probably to bring a usable product to consumers. However, that being said, there is, I think, always room for improvement. And so for sure, anyone could come along at any time with a more efficient or less expensive way of operating electric cars that would meet our modern standards of transportation, would easily give Tesla a run for their money, because unfortunately they have had quite a significant amount of struggle as a startup company trying to bring their product to where they want it. And
well, and
so,
don't forget, I was mainly talking about Tesla just because their vehicles travel extremely long distance because of I think it has a lot to do with the battery technology, which they, like I say, are offering to the general public. The Ford Focus, that's another one, and I think it's the Honda Leaf, are a couple of other brand name manufacturers, and they're not. I don't think they got anything really cool to give up like Tesla does. So I'm wondering when Ford, GM, Honda, Toyota, when are they going to start going, hey, we got the guy's giving us his stuff. Let's start using it. Let's go, guys. Like that, we should be hearing that soon. Sorry for butting in like that.
yeah, no, definitely, we're getting closer each and every day, so it's super exciting. I swear, every single day I just feel so blessed to be alive in probably the most exciting time that has ever happened since the dawn of humanity, for sure. Easily, very, very, very easily, we are in the most exciting and extraordinary time that the world has ever experienced. It is unbelievably quick-paced amount of phenomenal technology that just makes life easier and better and more enjoyable and more convenient and comfortable, and it's just a wonderful place to be. And so I feel that all the people that are working on solutions to the problems that are out there, and when you really look around, the problems out there are a lot fewer than they used to be. There are people in the world that right now struggle for survival. However, I think probably even less than 100 years ago, definitely less than 100 years ago, there were the struggle for survival was the norm all around the world. And so at least there's so many places in the world where that is not the case anymore, at least not for the majority. The majority of us have the most comfortable, most abundant and just magical lives of any time throughout history. Like, these Google Hangouts alone just blow my mind. This car that I'm sitting in, and the whole airline system. It's like unfathomable. Like, if you were to go back 100 years and say, you know, this is how it will be, yeah, no one would imagine. So to think what's coming in the next few years is very mind-boggling, because the technology it's accelerating, and so it's moving faster
That
all the time.
reminds me. You were asking me about air travel and how it is using electric propulsion. I'm pretty sure because it's a different sort of transportation, there are other contributing factors. So I don't think it'd be a real electric. I think it would be more of a solar powered application rather than electric power, because I know they've got drones. NASA and some other organizations have some drones up there flying around that are strictly powered by the sun. They fly above the clouds and they never have to land. Did you
Yeah,
get all that?
I was pretty confident that the drones out there were working on some sort of electrical system. So yeah, that's just going to keep improving, and yeah, I think that's a big one, because you know, it's such a cumulative thing. If we got all of the diesel and gasoline burning cars going with clean electricity, then it wouldn't be such a burden to have the jet fuel being burned. And so, although air travel is increasing all the time, uh, it's probably still a ways off. But I'm quite certain that yeah, there's of course people out there that are working on solving that problem of uh, the same one that we're trying to solve, of pollution caused by the burning of fossil fuels. So I think that you pretty much have to be under a rock not to admit that that problem exists. So I could go on my rant right now about how carbon dioxide and the whole carbon credit system is just a big scam to distract people from the real problem, which is pollution, but let's not go there.
I don't think air travel is going to be as popular as it is now. If especially if we use up our resources of fossil fuels, we'll be doing stuff like traveling by train, and the trains will be these bullet trains, so they'll be fast. And like you say, with our plans of sending these kind of vehicles or transportation systems underneath the ground, they'll be even faster. Getting over getting over oceans, um, that's a whole different ball game. Like going up into the jet stream seems to be the fastest, most efficient way to do it. But how you get up into the jet stream is probably going to change once we. And I don't know why they're not thinking this way already. But how are we going to be flying around when we do run out of the fossil fuels?
Yeah, I don't know. Um, for sure, there's a lot to consider about how the timeline on that is going to work out for people. I really don't know all that much about for that. It's like a guessing game going on, because that's pretty much all of it. Like my main frustration with the whole thing when it comes to this issue of burning fossil fuels is that people are just I can't remember how I was going to put that. Sorry, I'm starting to get a little bit tired, I think. So there's a lot that frustrates me about it, but it does frustrate me that there's this kind of stigma about like I've heard comments from older the older generations of things like, well, I'll let the next generation worry about that. I'm too old, and then they proceed to like you know, dump toxic waste onto the land. Like, I'm not kidding. Like, no joke. And it's like, yeah, okay. Like, I don't know where that mentality comes from. And well, no, I think maybe I think what it really is that the problem seems so monumentally large that people get overwhelmed by it. And so rather than try to focus on a solution to a problem that seems insurmountably large, they just turn away from the solution and actually become part of the problem. And it's not really a conscious thing where it's like, you want to be like what a dick, but really that's not the intention. However, that's not the intention. The intention isn't to destroy the environment, but the justification is that, oh well, I'm just one person, you know, what difference does it make what I do? But it's the accumulative effect of all of it added up that creates the bigger problem. And we've had a good track record in humanity of being able to clean issues up when they arise. So I'm happy about that. Like the acid rain problem that was really bad in the late 80s, early 90s, I believe it was. They or maybe it was earlier in the 70s. I can't remember, but they were like in the Great Lakes, up here in Canada quite a bit, I think, and then they just totally changed some of their practices, and like boom, big difference was made. Right, it didn't take that long for fish to start coming back in and habitat to start regrowing, and so I think that when focused effort is applied, things can change very quickly. So that's what we can hope for and strive for when moving to, away from the burning of fossil fuels and moving towards electric cars and greener transportation. So it's super exciting future on the way in regards to that. I think that technology is making solving these problems a lot well, it's a lot easier to get things done with the tools that are available now. So with that being said, I see that we're over an hour here now, which explains why I'm yawning, and I apologize for the terrible lighting that I subjected you to. I got my what do they call it? Dome light. I'm under the dome, and yeah, not like that, but I'm under the dome light in the car, and it's not really very good. But at least I made it. I was not gonna cancel tonight, so, but no, unless there's unforeseeable technical problems, or we absolutely totally lose the internet, one or both of us should be here talking about this stuff. It's a little disturbing that I guess everybody else is watching The Walking Dead or whatever, and they're unable to join us. That's unfortunate. But for anybody that did make it out to join us, that's good. And if not, well, maybe you'll see the replay. And if we can get more people talking about this, that's going to help perpetuate the speed at which we're excuse me. When I talk, you don't just get the news, you get the weather too, right? But the speed and the efficiency of implementing new infrastructure that's required for the new disruptive technology. The more that we can talk about it, the more quickly and easily things will progress. So yeah, if you happen to come across this, invite your friends. Let's get the conversation going. It's just been me and Larry and Tapan so far, and we're looking forward to having a lot more guests. And you know, it would be really amazing for you, like I know it will be for Tapan, to say that I was here chatting with these people when they were nobody, because we're going to keep doing this until somebody takes notice. So it should be a really great ride, and you're all invited to come along. So I have to go and get home and get some sleep, and because tomorrow I got to be awake and moving. So Larry, did you have any closing thoughts on the electric car and disruptive technology in transportation?
Well, I kind of like to say hi to everybody in the Asian countries that are kind of just joining us at lunchtime while we're talking about going to bed. I just find it funny that this new technology of the Google Hangout makes it possible to hold these events or these daily Hangout events globally. Because I know there's some people that are in Asian countries that might have an issue with the language that are not joining our uh, our hangout just yet, but I know they'll be coming on board. I kind of want to say hello to them and to make sure they go to our website at kingtripples.ca to get a little bit more information on why we're having this hangout, and at that same time trying to form our mastermind, because I think we should maybe always end these hangouts with that little bit of information of there is a method to this madness, and discussing these issues in the hangout is only part of it. That kingtripples.ca and the potential of our technology and how it's going to affect the world pretty much is how we look at electricity and power. So yeah, the electric guitar, the electric car is part of it. I'm starting to get a little bit tired too, so it's kind of late. Yeah, and I think there's probably more that we could discuss on that topic, but we covered quite a bit of that for disruptive technology. But good to know that we're going to be part of it with King Sunshine, because we just know that we're going to be powering a lot of these electric vehicles, whether it's ground, air, or sea. I know we're going to be part of it as far as the propulsion system goes. So, good night, everybody, or have a nice lunch, or good morning, depending on where in the world you are.
Yeah, and I am out of here. So if I don't see you in the future, I will see you in the pasture, because that's where I'll be, 6 a.m. Bye, everybody.